maybe a little update. We've got some things new here. You see, I've cleaned all the mess out of that room upstairs. Was able to finally get that done thanks to a temporary wall that was put up to support that floor slash ceiling wall. That's a comical almost. That's some of the ceiling tongue and groove I've taken down. The stop signs are on top of big holes, and I figured it was appropriate to use those. That's some of a tongue and groove wall that I've taken down in one room that's going to end up being a bookshelf system in the study. So it's going to be sheetrocked anyway. I figured I can use this stuff to do repairs as needed. There's that comical support wall. Not quite to code. What do you think? A stack of lumber that didn't get used. So now she's an obvious gaping hole. No tin sitting on top of it, no dresser or mattress. It's all open space. Still smells like fire. It's almost a company smell. I'll get that armor out of here so you can kind of protected that wall. But all the sheetrock still has to come out. Not a lot has changed in here since last post, really, other than, a couple of weeks ago I got this ceiling out of here, which is interesting because the front wall of it, find out, is actually kicked back from the front wall of the downstairs. I think we're going to fix that in the remodel. We're going to have them stacked. I mean, structurally, this isn't an issue right now. If it had been any further in, maybe, but it'll be fine. It'll be one on top of the other now. This is the wall that's going to be shelving system, bookcases and thing. Yeah, they didn't need no stinking code back in the day. But that cross bracing, that tongue and groove, that old growth lumber has this place just as rigid as a fortress. We got the bathroom cleared out, but sheetrock still needs to come out. But unfortunately, the sheetrock goes behind this wonderful beadboard. I'm going to try to see if I can just cut the sheetrock off above it a couple of inches so it has something to tape. Maybe be able to not have to rip the beadboard out because it's got a good seal, but I don't know. What to figure out. Need to restore these windows, open them back up. My wonderful crew of folks came and got the wallboard out of here. Found a lot of bad rot in that corner, but it looks like it's old bad rot. Surprisingly, the enclosure around the pocket doors is also tongue and groove with wallpaper tacks on it, so it's been there over 100 years like this. Just crazy. I thought that was a more recent update. I'll move tin back here to be able to remove all the stuff and be able to throw it out the back. But this is all cleaned out. It's crazy, huh? And I confirmed one of my hunches that these windows were sized down at some point and are not the original windows. You see, they're 2/2, which I thought might have been correct. But I've always wondered, because on the outside it shows where there's been, well, I can't see it on the side. There was, I'll show you on the other side at some point, where it looked like it had been sized down and a patch line of siding was there. Well, sure enough, I took this window frame out. You see it's been sized down. This used to be exterior lumber where the siding sat. Probably the window frame for the original window. I bet you that's the lumber from the original window frame where the siding butted up to it and was painted. And for some time too, because that paint's fairly thick. I don't know how many layers, but it seems thick. You can see where it had been sized down. Not sure exactly yet how far it went to the ground, but I have a feeling it went to further than that. It may have gone all the way to the baseboard. One of the guys that gave me a quote for doing the house said this would be absolutely gorgeous plain down. He said, "You're not getting rid of that, are you?" I said, "No, it's going to be used in some way." I said, "Yeah, that'll be beautiful plain down." And it's good heavy wood. This old closet, you can look back in here now. What's exciting is a $13,000 HVAC system we just put in 2 years ago. But back behind there, it's been there, and I've known it's been there since we got this house. It's an old 6/6 sash. And I have a feeling that may be the original sash for the upstairs windows. It might give me a size. I don't know, it looks kind of big. It might be for the downstairs. I can't wait to get it out. I'm gonna bust this thing out and get to it. But this looks good back here. It's not burned. One side of this floor is about 5 inches lower than the other side. It feels weird standing here. Here's the hole. That was the origin point right there where the electrical outlet was. See? There's a wire that came up for it. That's where the fire started. But it's good to have this cleaned up to see exactly what we have left and what we're dealing with. And what surprised the heck out of me is that top cap doesn't look as bad as I was worried with. Most of what you see burned there is the flooring that was on top of it, like it is here, where you see it continued. So once that's demoed out, we'll get a better idea of exactly how bad the top cap may be. Some of the old post wire insulators. These were actually still in use. They the power that went to the pendant light that hung there, and then the can lights that we installed later were still being run on that. Haven't done anything in here other than remove these sashes of these windows so I can restore them. But if I size them to an original side, I may not be using them. I'll show you what I'm talking about where it looks like they've been sized down. I always wondered, this is a clue. You see that patch right down along the side of where siding had been patched in. A good 4 inches. And this notch had always made me wonder. It's a notch in the side. It's like that window was larger at one time. It was always a secret for this house, but sure enough. Still need to clean out that closet. It is just coal, charcoal in there. But we just had a thunderstorm roll through here, and this is just as dry as it can be. It used to drip over here on this corner, but I bent that tin back so it doesn't drip into the house anymore. Now it just drips down the porch. So just a little wind-blown drops get in here now. I don't know when he plans on lighting that burn pile, but it is too close to the house. But I don't know what I'm talking about. This is the wall on which we found that wallpaper where the girls had signed. Let me get this bigger. Wink. Their names were signed all on this corner right here. Judy and Martha and so on. It's really a neat thing to find. So all the builders and architects, draftsmen I've talked to are actually excited about taking this ridge line up and enlarging the space. I think we've made a decision on who we're going to use. We'll get chopping through that this coming week, and you can see that unfold as we go. I love having this tongue and groove exposed. It actually looks in good shape. Just need to pull out some tacks, give it a sand, clean it up nice. Something I've never talked about before with you all. This isn't an original wall. You see, it's aligned with an exterior wall, but you see it's kicked back about a foot or so. And I always knew, because this door had been resized. You could see on the baseboards where it had been resized. And I said, well, they've sized that down. Wonder why? And then I realized that in the bathroom, they kicked the original exterior wall, which is that box style soffit right there. It's just covered in sheetrock. Was the original wall, and they kicked it back so they could fit the tub in because it's tight. And this is one of the smaller ones. I don't know why they didn't just go through the floor though. Yeah, I do, because that's where the original beam would have been. That's fine. And here we have the rest of what we have left stored until we can get it moved to storage. Have to do that soon because the ceiling is starting to fall. That sheetrock is starting to come down, but ooh, another sheet's come down. Oh, that's new. As of last night, another sheet, which you just see it's the same kind of board that's on the walls upstairs. It's just slats. Not tongue and groove, it's just boards. That's what this ceiling is. And we got to get this stuff out of here before we have further damage from falling ceiling. It's a wreck, right? I took the plywood off the wall here to expose the tongue and groove, and I think it's in great shape. Just needs to be sanded down well and painted. Yeah, this is what they had in this entire room. It's this 1/8 inch plywood, covered everything. And got it down there, got it down to joists, and got it down to studs so that when they come through with the LiDAR equipment, they can see what they're dealing with when they're adding a story above us. This used to be a half wall that went on to across. I took it out. It wasn't bearing any kind of weight, but it was the original exterior wall, but it wasn't bearing any weight. That was the original corner post. Just to be sure, I put a post under it, just in case. I've been trying to get the cabinets, the top cabinets out at least, and it was built like a bomb shelter, piece by piece, of some old, like scrap found lumber and some new lumber, And it's some of that old growth stuff, and it's really difficult to get out. Those nails that are in there are in there. Even the plywood that's attached to it doesn't want to come off. But this little, you see where the vent was supposed to have been run for the kitchen, for this oven. Got to get help to get the water heater down. This tongue and groove, this used to be a porch now. So this wasn't even here. This was built in. But it's all built in with scrap and found lumber, except for that up there, which I think may have been the original back to the porch roof. I don't know. I might be wrong. But look at this great tongue and groove board. I wish I had more of it. I mean, that's some serious lumber. But look at this poor corner post. Again, it would have been this exterior wall. And they sistered it in with this piece of scrap. And I think they did that just to have something for this lumber to get attached to. So yeah, that'll have to be taken care of. It's neat to see the back side of this siding. And taking stuff apart, especially this what used to be an exterior wall. It was all as a piece of the X bracing. So those would have been the studs, and then they came in when they were preparing to cut the wall to put those X braces in. See the difference in color. And difference in weight. And what's holding mold and what's not. But when I was taking all that apart, I came across this monster. Look at that. That is a big square nail. Just some scrap lumber. The facings of the cabinets, up top cabinets, was just plywood, cut it to face that. High quality plywood though. That door is 10 pounds piece. And another conundrum I've discovered is going to take this panel board off, but it's all behind the door frame. But I didn't want to have to disassemble this door because it seems like it's so heavily built. It seems like it would have been an exterior door frame, and it's thicker than the door frames in the rest of the house. That's a 1x6, not a 2x6, not a 2x4. And on this side, sure enough, when I take the sheetrock off, this beautiful unpainted siding. And yeah, I want to try to keep that, if I can, in place. I think it's beautiful. So I'm sure it goes all the way around the surround. That way the sheetrock is just barely holding on. I thought that was a crack, but it's where the wet smoke's dribbled down. But it's a huge door. And this isn't the original door for it. This has been, I mean, you see where this is. This has been added on. It's been cut at the top, but flipped upside down, I think. Yeah, I think it's upside down. But it's bigger than it's a bigger door frame than the rest of the doors in the house. I think it's a full 36 inch, where the rest are 34. what's behind here, if I remember correctly, this is some temporary stuff that we had here. You still have, look at the width of these boards. Those are 12 inch panels, which has me thinking that this back L to the house might actually be a assembly of a couple of outbuildings, because this room has behind the plywood the boards like upstairs, and what's the ceiling? There was a door there, you can't see here, but there's a door and a window on this wall. You can see the impression on the sheetrock. But where the rooms used to join with a wall, used to be a wall here I took out, it's non-bearing, so it's good. There is no upright. All you see is siding back there. So it goes from B-board, and there's not even an upright in that wall edge. The next upright is along where that window frame is. So that's where the upright is there. There's no upright here. But there is an upright about 4 inches inside of here. Odd. And over here, you have the B-board again. I keep saying B-board, the tongue groove. And siding, or I just don't know. But something is telling me that this used to be one of these, maybe, or both of them, might have been outbuildings that were just tacked onto the back of the house, which was done often in the day. Yeah, this house keeps telling some of its secrets and hinting at more secrets. It'll answer one, but then give us another. Anyway, but that's where we are right now. This coming week, hopefully, we'll have everything pulled, all the furniture and stuff out of this house, so that LiDAR can be mapped and us have a full, accurate floor plan for the house. And then we'll move into the design phase of what's going to go up here and what's going to go up above that back part of the house. Anyway, that's what's going on. Oh, some of y'all, if y'all want to see it, this wonderful gift that we had. I did make a post earlier the day I got it, but this beast of a door, that's the back side of it. That is the back side of it. Yeah, it's fairly plain. It's going to be the new front door, and with screen door and the hardware that's original to it. And excited about that. Was given by a friend of ours whose sister lives down the road in one of the old Munson homes. This house came from the old, ooh, that's a heavy door. Came from the old Lemon house, which actually sat right there on the other side of West Avenue, right on that corner. So it'll be just about 100 feet from where it started its life as a door, which is really cool. Anyway, well, look, the top of the beehive. See if we can see it. Yeah, the top of the beehive there. Beehive has been down in this wall for as long as we've been here, and we planted for them. That entire side there is beehive, I'm sure. And we had a visitor by a couple of weeks ago who used to live here when he was a teenager said that there were bees behind that chimney. Actually asked if the beehive was still there. We hadn't said anything about it. And he said it was there when he was there. So this is in the 70s. So that beehive may have been there 40 years, 50 years. Yep, that's gonna come down. Just gotta get the sheetrock out of here and then demo some of the ceiling boards off. And then I think we'll be able to safely take it down and have no problems with it. Yeah, anyway, so that is the second week of March. That's where we are. That's where we are.